Welcome everyone, thank you so much for joining in. So guys, looking at this current Bitcoin price action, you can see price of Bitcoin after coming around this price level of 11,200, our target level has clearly failed to break above it. And I've mentioned it plenty of time. If the price actually fails to break above this key level area, that would indicate, hey, maybe we might see a pullback around this 10,600 price level. And right now what I'm actually seeing here is also a very interesting scenario, because you can also pinpoint important key level, because you can see here the price was clearly making higher highs, right? But if you go down here and look at this awesome oscillator, you will notice that this awesome oscillator is pointing out a divergence, and this divergence is a bearish divergence, indicating, hey, the price could be reversing to our support area of 10,600. And not only that, if you look to the downside, this RSI is also pointing out a bearish divergence, right? And you can see here, this is in a 4-hour time frame, guys. You can see when we had this bullish divergence here, for example, right, this was a bullish divergence. You can see the price was clearly in a downtrend. And also if you look at this awesome oscillator, also pointed out a bullish divergence. Right now you can see this was a bearish scenario for Bitcoin, but indicator actually pointed out a bullish divergence scenario. So after that you can see RSI pointed out, awesome oscillator pointed out a bullish divergence, and after that you can see the price also started heading towards the upper direction. But right now this both indicator, this awesome oscillator and RSI, is pointing out a bearish divergence, and you can see the result right now. The price is also showing some sort of a reversal. Now, since the price has clearly failed to break above this 11,200 resistance line, we can see another scenario unfolding for Bitcoin. So for that, I have to switch the chart. So this here is Bitcoin USD chart in an hourly time frame, and this scenario here is a Wyckoff's accumulation phase. And I showed you guys, and I also told you plenty of time, why price must break this golden pocket level, because this Fibonacci golden pocket level of 0.618 is the most important level for Bitcoin, because you can see price came here but clearly failed to break above it, and now we are also seeing some sort of a pullback around this area. So you can see, guys, that's why I was talking about, hey, if the trend wants to continue, it has to break this 0.618 Fibonacci golden pocket level. And now we can see this rejection, and this rejection could actually get a pullback. And I'm actually expecting, since the price is right now holding really strong around this support level of 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, you can see here, right? But if it actually fails, then we are going to look towards our target area of support, which is 10,600 level, guys. So that area, this 10,600, is a very strong support. We know that, right? And now to the upside, this 11,200 is a very strong resistance. So what I'm actually expecting, looking at this price action for Bitcoin, I'm actually expecting this kind of price movement, this sideways movement, because we know to the downside 10,600 support is there, and to the upside this resistance line of 0.618 Fibonacci golden pocket. So this is a possible scenario for Bitcoin right now. And if you want to look this in a bigger frame, no problem, guys. We also have a very interesting chart which we have already talked about in my previous videos. So let's switch the chart. This price structure, I have already talked about this scenario here in my previous videos, and also looking at this right now, guys, this here is pointing out to be a really nice descending broadening wedge. And I've told you really loud and clear what kind of scenario was I expecting around this area, just like this one here, right? Price in an ascending channel. And you can see here this panned out really well, because you can see the price is clearly heading in this manner to the upward direction, right? And you can also see this breaking above this trend line here to the upside would also be a very strong confirmation that trend is bullish. And this is also exactly around this price level of 11,200, guys. And that's why I was also saying you, hey, this 11,200 is a very important resistance for Bitcoin, because you can see in past this line was a very strong support, right? And now this same line, this trend line 11,200, is a very strong resistance. So if the price actually wants to continue further, it has to clearly break above it. And how to know if the trend is actually going to break and continue further towards the upper direction? You can use this scenario. I've talked about this, and I'm pointing out this kind of scenario time and again. The reason therefore is because everything what I show here, guys, is linked with each other. Because you can see here, if you don't want to look this as a descending broadening wedge, right, in this scenario, no problem, because we can also see this current structure here, what is unfolding. Look at this upper line. Right now this upper line is a very strong resistance line for us, and we can see that very clearly. price after reaching that area did found a strong rejection, and now we might also be heading in a sideways direction, because I told you to the upside 11,200 is a resistance, and to the downside this 10,600 is very strong support. So we might be seeing this kind of price movement and a breakout in this manner, right? So not this kind of breakout. Why? Because you can see we have already talked about this similar price movement in a bigger time frame, but now I'm also going to show you here in a smaller time frame, in a daily time frame, right? So if you look at this scenario here, you will notice this price structure, right? The price, the way it's moving here, this is very, very important to understand. Why? Because in this way you will get an image if the trend is actually going to break towards the upper direction, give us a confirmation, yes, it's actually a continuation pattern, or it's going to reverse towards a down direction. Because when you see this kind of price structure here, and let's say if this is going to be a sideways market, just like I said to you, right? If the price is going to move in this way and get a breakout, breaking this resistance line, guys, you always get a confirmation, right? This here could be a fake out, and price could actually get dumped in this manner, right? So what we need to do, we need to wait for a confirmation. So what kind of confirmation? Price retesting the previous resistance level again. So in this case, you can see this 11,200 is a very, very strong resistance right now for Bitcoin. And now if we get a breakout out of it, we can expect this price coming back to retest this level and a possible breakout scenario. The actual breakout scenario would look somehow like this, because in many cases this breakout had always turned to be a fake out. We come back to retest this previous key level support, right? And then a possible breakout scenario. And this is what I see right now. And now if we look at this current scenario also in a bigger time frame, no problem, I have already prepared a chart for you guys. So this here is Bitcoin USD chart in a weekly time frame, and the reason I showed you the previous example with this possible scenario, guys, you can see the reason why. This here is Bitcoin USD chart in a weekly time frame, and this here in a weekly time frame, you can notice this possible scenario here about Bitcoin, and here you will also notice this price movement. Look at this here. We had a consolidation phase, right? We had a fake out. Price came back to retest this previous support level, and boom, then we had an actual breakout. But now you can see we got a pullback, right? And where did it came? It came exactly to test the previous resistance level when we had this fake out. So you can see this line here acted as a support, and you can see what is right now unfolding for Bitcoin in a weekly time frame. You can see it is actually pointing out that, hey, this support level has been respected, and now maybe we might be heading slowly towards our target level of 14,000 area, guys. So according to this, in a bigger time frame, we are not bearish, but we might see a small pullback, and that's nothing to worry about, guys. So not only this, guys, if you want to look at the price action of Bitcoin, the descending boarding wedge also in a weekly time frame, then this here is a very, very interesting chart. So guys, now if we look at the price action of Bitcoin, this here in a weekly time frame, and also I've used this log scale. So if you look at the price action now and this descending broadening wedge, you can see, guys, this descending broadening wedge also pointed a pretty interesting scenario, just like with our previous example. I showed you around this 11,200, the upper line of the descending broadening wedge was acting as a resistance. And if you look at this in a weekly time frame, you will notice that this descending broadening wedge did act as a resistance, right? The upper line. And after that, we had this correction. And now you can see when the price actually broke above it, we started consolidating, and this breakout turned out to be a fake out. And then you can see price came back to actually find support at the upper line area of this descending broadening wedge, and then boom, then we had this really nice pump towards this 12,400 area. And now you can also see in a bigger time frame where we are, this area to the upside, this 12,000 was a very strong resistance, right? You can see here also and here also when the trend was heading to the downward direction. So what it is actually indicating us right now in a weekly time frame, that price could also be trapped in a bigger scale. I mean, between this 12,500 level and to the downside this 10,000 price level in a bigger time frame. I said you 11,200 and to the downside 10,600 is a support and resistance level in a daily time frame and also in a 4-hour time frame. But in a weekly time frame, you can see so resistance is clearly here around this 12,400 12,500 level, and support is clearly around this 10,000 price level. So if the price is actually able to break above this 12,500 level, that would indicate a very bullish scenario for Bitcoin, because after that we might see some parabolic move for Bitcoin, right? And to the downside, the price must hold this 10,000 price level. Otherwise, the price could actually re-enter this 9,000 price level, because you can see support here at 10,000 is the strongest support which we can actually get, and I showed you with many different examples why. If you haven't watched that video, no problem, it should be popping up right now. So guys, looking things into bigger time frame and also in a smaller time frame, it is pointing out that the price of Bitcoin might be heading in a sideways direction in the coming days. And also for those people who actually wanted me to look into some other altcoins, guys, the video regarding the altcoin analysis will be published in my next episode. So by saying this, I'm signing out. My name is Anu. Bye bye guys.